What if I told you that the Bible holds secrets for building wealth? And not only that, but the very same principles were used by some of the most successful millionaires in history. Would you believe it? Most people wouldn't, and that's the problem. Because this truth has been sitting in plain sight for centuries, ignored by the majority, and embraced only by the few who dared to think differently. Wealth isn't luck. It's not a privilege reserved for the elite. It's the result of specific laws, universal principles that have worked for anyone who's chosen to apply them. These principles have been written, preached, and practiced long before they were repackaged as New Age strategies. They're ancient, they're spiritual, and they're astonishingly practical. One man who spent years studying the wealthiest people on Earth noticed something fascinating. Regardless of background, industry, or education, they all followed similar patterns of thought and behavior. Whether they realized it or not, they were applying the same biblical foundations that had been taught for thousands of years. The question is, why are these truths ignored by so many? Why do millions still live paycheck to paycheck, drowning in stress and scarcity, while a small percentage accumulates wealth seemingly with ease? The answer lies in how you perceive money. While some still believe that money is evil, that the rich are greedy, or that God wants you to be poor, those who prosper see things differently. They understand that the Bible doesn't condemn wealth. It teaches how to gain it with wisdom, purpose, and responsibility. Few realize this, but what people now call the law of attraction was hidden in plain sight in Scripture, long before it became a trend. Maybe you've wondered why some people attract money effortlessly while others remain stuck in a never-ending financial struggle. Today, we're going deep into the principles of prosperity that are hidden in full view. And more importantly, we're going to explore how to apply them, not just understand them, because knowledge without action doesn't lead to transformation. By the end of this video, your perspective on money, faith, and wealth will be completely different. And if you're ready to break free from financial stagnation and unlock the door to abundance, then stay with me. Let's begin. Most people spend their lives chasing secrets to getting rich. But the truth is, the secrets have been in front of us all along, especially in one of the oldest and most powerful books in history, the Bible. Back then, it wasn't called manifestation. It wasn't called abundance mindset, but the principles were all there, clear, consistent, accessible. Those who succeeded followed them, sometimes without even knowing it. So why doesn't everyone? Because most people don't believe that something so ancient could hold the key to their modern financial problems. They dismiss what's sacred as outdated. They search for hacks and shortcuts when the real answer is spiritual discipline and mental clarity. The issue here isn't just money. It's the mindset that either attracts it or pushes it away. From biblical times until now, one pattern has remained. Those who prosper think differently. Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." That single verse holds more power than most people realize. It's not a metaphor. It's a mechanism. Your outer world will always reflect your inner world. And that's exactly what the law of attraction tries to explain. Thoughts shape reality. And if you live with a prosperous mindset, you'll begin to see doors open that others don't even notice. If you walk around with resentment, guilt, and limiting beliefs about money, you'll unconsciously sabotage every opportunity for growth. Why does that happen? Because your mind has been programmed to reject wealth. We've been conditioned to associate money with corruption, to believe that only the chosen succeed, or that too much ambition is dangerous. But if you observe the habits and attitudes of truly wealthy people, you'll find that prosperity follows a predictable pattern. And that's what we're going to uncover, step by step. How biblical truth, the law of attraction, and timeless wisdom combine to radically shift the way you think about abundance. If you're tired of barely making it, of living trapped in a cycle of debt, stress, and survival, then it's time to pay attention. Because the only thing separating you from the life you want is the way you think about money. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a mindset problem. And here's something you may have never been told. Your mind is the birthplace of either poverty or prosperity. Before it shows up in your bank account, it shows up in your beliefs. That's why Proverbs 23:7 hits so hard. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So, your reality is simply a reflection of the thoughts you've been repeating for years. If you constantly speak lack, expect failure, and repeat ideas like, money is the root of all evil, guess what? Your subconscious takes notes every time, and it will do everything in its power to protect that belief, even if it costs you your future. This is where Think and Grow Rich draws the line in the sand. It teaches that wealth is not first built in markets, or businesses, or bank accounts, but in the mind. If you think in terms of limits, you will only see walls. If you think in terms of opportunity, you'll start seeing doors where others see dead ends. The power lies in what you choose to repeat. Let's get practical. Pay attention to your language around money. How often do you say things like, I can't afford that? Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are probably dishonest. Protif, I'll never have enough. Every one of those phrases is a seed of scarcity. Repeated enough times, they become your financial reality. Why? Because your subconscious is always listening, and it doesn't know the difference between truth and repetition. But here's the good news. You can rewrite the script. Start replacing those old statements with powerful new affirmations like, I am worthy of prosperity. Money flows to me through expected and unexpected sources. Every day, I create more value in the world, and I'm rewarded for it. I am connected to divine wisdom and financial clarity. Now, maybe that sounds strange at first. Maybe it feels unnatural. That's normal. But just like your old beliefs were programmed by repetition, your new beliefs need to be reinforced the same way. Because here's a secret. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And who you are is defined by what you believe deep down, whether consciously or not. So let me ask you something. What have you been feeding your mind? Are you reading books that strengthen your mindset? Or are you scrolling through social media, absorbing fear and drama? Are you learning from people who build wealth with wisdom and integrity? Or listening to those who complain, blame, and stay broke? Environment matters. Proverbs 13:20 says, walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble. That's not just a spiritual warning. It's a success strategy. You become like the people you're closest to. That includes your mentors, your content, your conversations. If you're surrounded by negativity, constant complaints, and scarcity thinking, you'll reflect that energy whether you realize it or not. So here's the next step. Start curating your influences. Read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, and of course, Think and Grow Rich. These aren't just financial books. They're mindset manuals. They rewire the way you think about opportunity, effort, and wealth. And be intentional with your relationships. Spend time with people who talk about growth, investments, value creation, not just gossip and lack. Your financial future is being shaped by what you listen to, read, and repeat. Guard your input. Feed your faith, not your fears. Because ultimately, what you plant in your thoughts is what you harvest in your reality. Everything in life follows the law of planting and harvesting. You don't reap success from a field you never worked. You don't get a harvest from seeds you never planted. Your financial reality today is the result of everything you've planted mentally, emotionally, and behaviorally over the past years. And the harsh truth? Most people are planting complaints, procrastination, and fear, and then expecting prosperity. But a farmer knows better. A farmer knows that you can only harvest what you sow. And sowing takes patience, effort, and consistency. Let's break this down. If you want financial growth, you must plant value. That means you invest in yourself, You build skills, you serve others, you solve problems. That's how wealth is generated, by planting seeds of usefulness. Look at successful investors. They don't hope for money to fall from the sky. They study the market. They make smart decisions. They diversify. They stay consistent. Their results come from habitual wisdom, not lucky moments. The same goes for entrepreneurs. They don't wait for motivation to show up. They build, they test, they improve, day after day. Their success is the result of thousands of small, invisible steps. And guess what? You can do the same, but you need to commit to the process. Even the law of attraction operates on the law of sowing. You don't just wish for abundance. You embody it. You think, speak, feel, and act in alignment with the future you want. And you keep doing it, even when the results are not immediate. That's where most people fail. They practice a new habit for a week, then quit because nothing changed. But the seed doesn't sprout overnight, and only those with the discipline to keep nurturing it will see the breakthrough. That's why Proverbs 10:4 is so clear. Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Discipline is the silent force behind every story of abundance. And here's something else that Think and Grow Rich makes undeniable. Successful people don't rely on motivation. They rely on consistency. They act even when they don't feel like it. They do what needs to be done, regardless of emotion. Athletes train even when they're tired. Writers write even when uninspired. Investors study even when the market is uncertain. What separates dreamers from achievers is not talent, it's discipline. So ask yourself, are your daily actions aligned with the life you say you want? Because desire without discipline is a fantasy. And the universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you consistently do. Let's get practical again. How do you bring all of this into your daily life? Start by eliminating procrastination. Stop waiting for the perfect day. It doesn't exist. Set clear goals. Break them into small daily steps. Want to build a business? Devote an hour each day to it. Want to invest? Study finance, take notes, apply consistently. Small efforts, repeated daily, build unstoppable momentum. But there's a hidden multiplier most people overlook: generosity. And I'm not just talking about giving money. I'm talking about giving value, sharing what you know, helping someone rise, creating opportunities for others. Luke 6:38 says, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, will be poured into your lap." This isn't just spiritual poetry, it's a universal principle. The most prosperous people are not the most selfish, they are the most useful. Look around. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, they didn't become wealthy by chasing money. They became wealthy by solving problems that affected millions of people. They gave first, and abundance followed. The law of attraction confirms this. When you give freely, you vibrate at the frequency of abundance. When you contribute, you become magnetic to prosperity. But when you operate in fear, when you hoard what little you have, you signal to the universe that you don't trust it. And what you don't trust, you repel. So here's a challenge. If you want more, give more. If you want more knowledge, share what you know. If you want more income, generate more value. If you want more opportunities, help others grow. Don't wait for perfect timing. Start now. Give without keeping score. And watch the doors open. One of the most overlooked secrets of wealth is this: your environment shapes your decisions. You cannot grow in a place that constantly shrinks your vision. You cannot prosper when surrounded by voices that normalize mediocrity. And you certainly won't rise if everyone around you is committed to staying where they are. The Bible already warned us in Proverbs 13, 20, walk with the wise and become wise, associate with fools and get in trouble. And what modern psychology confirms, Think and Grow Rich already understood decades ago. You become like the people you surround yourself with. That's the idea behind the mastermind. A group of minds that align toward growth, share ideas, challenge mediocrity, and build each other up. The wealthy know this. That's why they connect. That's why they network. That's why you'll find the most successful people learning from each other, attending the same events, exchanging insights, growing together. This isn't luck, it's a strategy. So here's your reality check. Look around. Are the people closest to you pulling you forward or holding you down? Are your daily conversations about solutions, opportunity, and growth, or about problems, fear, and complaints? Because you will always reflect what you tolerate. And if you want to elevate your life, you have to elevate your environment. Follow people who speak life into your dreams. Read books that expand your vision. Listen to voices that challenge you to think bigger. Fill your mind with wisdom, not noise. Proverbs 8:10 says it beautifully. Accept instruction instead of silver, knowledge rather than choice gold. Why? Because knowledge can multiply anything. Money can disappear, but wisdom remains. And it's wisdom that allows you to rebuild, to grow, to multiply anything, whether it's a paycheck, an idea, or a business. That's why self-education is non-negotiable. Look at Warren Buffett. He didn't become a billionaire by accident. He became one through study, clarity, and timeless principles. Elon Musk didn't invent rockets because he was born gifted. He studied, he read, he surrounded himself with the best minds. Success has a pattern. Learn, apply, evolve. The more you grow mentally, the more you grow financially. And the law of attraction responds to this too. The more you pursue wisdom and act with clarity, the more doors open that once felt invisible. But here's where most people fail. They want wealth without wisdom. They want results without effort. They want rewards without roots. And so they fall for schemes, shortcuts, and quick wins, only to end up stuck again. So, what's the solution? Make learning a daily habit. Read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, and Think and Grow Rich. Study investments, business, personal development. Not someday, now. But most importantly, apply what you learn. Because knowledge without action is just potential. It only becomes transformation when it becomes behavior. And to turn behavior into lifestyle, you'll need one final ingredient: persistence. Even with all the right information, the path to wealth will still demand resilience. Job 8:7 reminds us, though your beginning was small, your future will flourish. You don't have to start big, but you do have to keep going. Every millionaire that Think and Grow Rich examined failed many times before succeeding. The difference? They didn't see failure as the end. They saw it as feedback, as part of the process, as training. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before the light bulb. Henry Ford went bankrupt before building the company that changed the auto industry. Walt Disney was rejected, laughed at, and told his dreams were impossible. What did they all have in common? They refused to quit. They adjusted, refined, persisted. They stayed focused when others would have folded. And the universe eventually rewarded their alignment, not because they were lucky, but because they were faithful to the process. That's how the law of attraction really works. It responds to energy and motion, to unwavering focus, and daily direction. But most people do the opposite. They quit at the first obstacle. They give up when results take time. They fall back into frustration and scarcity. So let me ask you, are you willing to make a long-term commitment to your goals? Because that's what it takes. If there's one enemy that silently kills more dreams than failure ever could, it's fear. Fear is the invisible thief that robs people of their future before they even take the first step. And the Bible is clear about it. In Matthew 14:31, Jesus says, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" In that moment, Peter began to sink, Not because the storm was too strong, but because his faith collapsed. That's exactly how life works. It's not the circumstances that drown us, it's the fear we choose to hold on to. Fear of losing money keeps people from investing. Fear of judgment keeps people from sharing their ideas. Fear of failure stops them from starting. Doubt is like a virus. It infects every opportunity with hesitation, and hesitation delays destiny. But let me tell you a secret every successful person knows. They feel fear too. They just don't surrender to it. Think about the great investors. Warren Buffett buys when everyone else panics. Great entrepreneurs launch ideas without guarantees. What sets them apart? Strategy over emotion. Vision over fear. The law of attraction responds to your inner state. If you live in fear, your mind will create reasons to pause. But if you move with faith and courage, life will open doors that fear would have kept locked forever. So how do you overcome fear? Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? In almost every case, the worst scenario isn't nearly as bad as your mind makes it out to be. Take action, even while afraid, because action is what builds courage, not the other way around. One small step, taken with faith, weakens the grip of fear more than 1,000 hours of overthinking. And this is why having a clear purpose is so important. When you know why you're doing something, quitting becomes unaffordable. But if you lack direction, every obstacle feels like a reason to stop. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." That means prosperity is not a coincidence. It's not luck. It's the result of a clear vision backed by determined action. Every highly successful person has this in common: a defined purpose. They know what they want, but more importantly, they know why they want it. Steve Jobs wanted to transform how we interact with technology. Elon Musk wants to take humanity to Mars. Warren Buffett wants to teach the world how to invest wisely. The money came as a result of the mission, not the other way around. And when you live with purpose, your entire mind aligns. Your decisions change, your energy sharpens, and the law of attraction responds by delivering the people, resources, and opportunities needed to fulfill that mission. If you're unclear about your purpose, start here. What do you want to build? What energizes you just thinking about it? How can your skills improve someone else's life? When you find that answer, you find your fuel. And here's one more principle: the multiplier of all blessings. Gratitude. Gratitude isn't a cliche, it's a strategy. It shifts your frequency. 1 Thessalonians 5:18 says, "Give thanks in all circumstances." That means, even before the victory comes, give thanks. Gratitude unlocks joy, and joy unlocks flow. Think and Grow Rich revealed that millionaires don't focus on what's missing. They amplify what's already present. And because they focus on abundance, more abundance follows. The law of attraction multiplies whatever you appreciate. But most people do the opposite. They complain. They focus on bills, lack, limitations. And what they focus on expands. So here's a challenge. Start practicing gratitude today. Right now. Write down 5 things you're thankful for. It could be your health, your family, your mind, your freedom, your faith, anything. This simple habit rewires your mind to see abundance, not lack. And what your mind sees, your life starts to reflect. Now, let's come back to the big question. If these principles are written in Scripture and confirmed by history's most successful people, why are so many still struggling? The answer is simple: mindset. Most people have been programmed to play small, to avoid risk, to follow the script, go to school, get a job, pay bills, retire quietly. But that doesn't build wealth. That builds survival. Real prosperity requires a new mindset, one built on discipline, intention, and aligned action. But few are willing to break free from their comfort zones. Others fall into the trap of procrastination. They watch videos, read books, feel motivated, but then tell themselves, "I'll start Monday." And Monday never comes. Meanwhile, those who act, even with imperfect knowledge, start building. They plant, they grow, they reap. Because the difference between those who prosper and those who stay stuck isn't luck or talent. It's the courage to act despite uncertainty. So now, it's your turn. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you just feel inspired for a few minutes and then go back to your old habits? Or will you make a decision today, a decision to apply what you've learned? Because at the end of the day, everything boils down to one word: action. Knowledge without practice is just theory, but knowledge applied becomes transformation. Right now, there's a version of you waiting to be born. A version that thinks clearly, walks confidently, acts decisively. A version of you that no longer doubts, no longer hesitates, no longer plays small. But that version is not unlocked by chance. It's not revealed through wishing. It's activated by a choice. And that choice is made in silence, in private, when no one is watching. It's a line in the sand. The life you want isn't waiting for perfect timing. It's waiting for you to stop negotiating with fear. It's waiting for you to stop repeating the same excuses that built your current limits. You have already heard the principles. You've seen the truth written in Scripture, echoed by the greatest minds, proven in every story of transformation. Now, the question is, will you do something with it? The people who change their lives don't wait for the stars to align. They act when they're afraid. They act when they're uncertain. They act because their current life no longer fits their vision. And if you've listened this far, it means something in you is already shifting. You've outgrown the identity that was built in fear. You're ready to step into alignment, mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually. So here's your invitation. No more delays. No more waiting for permission. No more asking if you're ready. Start where you are. Use what you have. Take the first small, meaningful step. And watch what happens when consistency meets faith. Because you don't need another miracle. You need a decision. A decision to believe that you were not created for lack. A decision to walk with vision, clarity, and conviction. A decision to finally become the person you were always meant to be. And when you do, when you align your habits with your calling, your thoughts with truth, your actions with wisdom, you will become unstoppable. Because the truth is simple. God has already designed your path, but it's your move. Let this be the moment everything begins to change.